Got a new box of CGC Sports Illustrated magazines that I guarantee you've never seen before. All right, what is up, guys? I'm Brad. We got another CGC reveal video today. I have 12 slabs, and like I said, this is a really unique box because I guarantee the majority of these you've literally never seen before. I have only seen these magazines one time ever, and that's whenever I found them and I purchased them and sent them in to be graded. They just came back. Super cool. So of these 12 in this box, 10 of them are all a theme that you're about to see. 2 of them are standard Sports Illustrated magazines that you would typically see. I'm going to save those 2 towards the end. But let's go ahead and jump right in. This is some pretty cool stuff. I was pretty excited when I found these. I'll tell the story here in just a second, but let's take a look at the first one. Here we go. All right. So at first glance, what's so special? This is Javon Curse from the Tennessee Titans. This is from September 2000. And let's see if I can bring this in a little bit closer. What do you notice here? Edition NFL 2000, Ciudadano. This is in Spanish. This is in Espanol. This is, let's see, where does it say it? Where does it say it on here? You know what? This copy actually doesn't even say it. Most of them do, but this is Mexican edition. This is Sports Illustrated Mexico. All right, Sports Illustrated Mexico. I had never seen a copy raw or graded of Sports Illustrated Mexico until I came across these. Now, I will say, I did know that Sports Illustrated Mexico existed. That is because the website that I use frequently and that I've shared on here before, I think it's called sportsillustratedissues.com, that has a very comprehensive list of pretty much every Sports Illustrated ever put out there. It did show that SI Mexico existed. And it had a little database with SI Mexico issues in it, but that database only had 3 covers listed. Sorry, we got a loud motorcycle flying by my house, but only 3 SI Mexicos were listed on that website. And so to me, I thought that was all that existed of the SI Mexicos, because once again, my experience with that website has been that it is really, really comprehensive. It's the most comprehensive listing out there that I've found of all the Sports Illustrated issues, and it's got all the other different variations and everything. So, you know, I had no reason to believe that, well, there must have only been 3 SI Mexicos until I stumbled upon these. Well, let me tell you about this. So I actually can't even remember what the website is called, and I should remember. But basically, I found myself on like a Spanish version of eBay. It's not eBay, but it's a very popular marketplace, online marketplace in Spanish countries, like very popular in basically Mexico and South America. And once again, I can't even remember what it's called. I should have looked it up before I did this reveal video, but I started searching on there to see if there were any Sports Illustrated, and there were. And there was one seller that had, I think there were probably like 15 Sports Illustrated Mexicos for sale, and there were 10 or so of those that I wanted. 10 or so of those that I'm like, wow, I mean, those are cool enough to where, you know, I've never seen them before in an SI Mexico. I want to get those. Well, here was the problem. The website literally would not let you even create an account unless you had an address in one of those countries, Mexico or, you know, Central America, South America. You know, not like eBay where you could literally buy from anywhere in the world. You could not create an account. And I tried some workarounds. I tried to get creative and I couldn't. It would not let me. So I'm like, man, what am I going to do? I was like, you know, okay, I know a couple people who got some vacation places in Mexico. Maybe I can reach out to them, ask them to, you know, make an account for me and I can pay them to buy these magazines, whatever. Well, what I ended up doing was the seller, you could tell that the seller of these like owned almost like a comic and a collectible store. And so I was able to find the name of the seller's store through their account on this Spanish marketplace. And I Googled that store name, and I was able to find a Facebook page that this collectible store in Mexico had. I sent them a Facebook message, not even sure if this was the same store. Also not sure if they would be able to communicate with me because I was speaking English. But you know what, to my surprise, they responded right away. I told them, hey, I live in the United States. I've stumbled across some of your listings. I'd really like to purchase these. And we worked out a deal. And the postage was interesting too, because, you know, obviously, you know, USPS. There was some, I think it was called like Ostia Feta or something. There was some sort of like intermediary service that we had to use to get the magazines across the border to the US, and then it transferred on to either FedEx or USPS. Really interesting, but I got pretty good prices on them, and it was really cool. So I'm going to share, I got 10 of these. I got 10 of these Sports Illustrated Mexicos, and here's what's really neat is sometimes, and this is very similar to like Sports Illustrated China. Sports Illustrated China is probably the most common non-US Sports Illustrated version that, you know, I've talked about in some of my videos and that you may see around sometimes. But same with the Sports Illustrated China's as the Sports Illustrated Mexico's. Sometimes the cover that they used was the exact same as the cover that they used for the US version, but other times it was a completely different cover photo that was never used in the US. And so that makes it kind of fun too. This is one of the examples that was not used in the US. So this was an SI Mexico only edition. And so Javon Curse, you know, not a super collectible athlete. He was like defensive rookie of the year, I think, in 1999. He did make 3 Pro Bowls. Pretty good defensive end there for a stretch, but not a Hall of Famer. He was on one US Weekly cover, which was actually about 9 months prior to this. I think his cover was in January of 2000, and this was September of 2000. The SI Mexicos came out once a month. All right, and so the three issues that were listed on that website, let me see real quick. There was a December 2000 was the first one that they had listed, and that's like it was like a top moments of 2000 or something. I can see that it had Anna Kournikova, Lance Armstrong, Tiger Woods, a couple others on the cover. And then the website showed a Marshall Faulk cover from 2001, and it showed a Ricky Williams cover from 2003. Those were the only covers that it showed. So based on those covers, and then based on the covers that I picked up, the best that I can tell is that Sports Illustrated Mexico ran at least from September 2000 to February 2003. Of course, it could have been a little bit longer than that. There may have been a couple before September 2000. There may have been some after February of 2003. But for the most part, we can assume that Sports Illustrated Mexico ran for approximately 3 years monthly, once per month, you know, as opposed to the US, which was every week at that time. All right, so, you know, usually I share pop reports and sales. These are all one of ones. There had never been another magazine graded from Sports Illustrated Mexico. So obviously no sales and no pop reports, one of one. In case you're interested in these, the majority of these I probably am going to put up for sale. Usually I'm more of a collector. I don't sell a ton of my magazines, although I'm getting to the point where I need to sell more because storage space is becoming an issue for me. I think there's only there's 2 or 3 of these Sports Illustrated Mexicos I've identified that I'm going to keep. And the majority of them, including this one, I'm going to put up for sale. So just a heads up there in case you're interested, shoot me a message. So, all right, let's move on. Oh, also projections. I did something a little bit different with this one too. Usually I will project every single individual magazine that I send in. All of these the 10 SI Mexicos that I submitted, they all seem to be in pretty similar shape. They all had very similar flaws, with like some color rub, and some of them had some creasing and stuff like that, and also very glossy covers, similar to the SI Chinas. So with all that being said, I just projected a range for all 10. And what I listed in my sheet was, I'm expecting all 10 of these Sports Illustrated Mexicos to come back somewhere in the range of 5.0 to 7.0. I did not have high grading expectations for any of these. And so this one obviously came in at the low portion of my grade, at 5.0, but actually it's the only one that came in that low. Of all 10, the majority of them were much closer to that higher range. So, all right, I'm going to move on. Long talk there, but once again, I was so excited to stumble upon these SI Mexicos. And this is just another great example of multiple that I've shared on my channel of why I love this hobby so much and why it's still so much fun, especially right now, because you can just stumble upon and you can hunt down some amazing and really fun and really cool finds. And this was definitely one of my coolest and one of my most fun finds, buying these all the way from Mexico and finding them off some random Spanish marketplace. So, all right. That's enough talk on that's enough preface there. It's enough setting the scene. Let's go ahead and look at the rest of these magazines. All right. Next up, another Sports Illustrated Mexico. And I think this one's pretty cool. This is actually one of the three, it may be three or four, we'll see. But this is one I'm thinking about keeping. Johnny Unitas. It says El Mejor de Todos, which means the best ever. It's a 7.0. So once again, I projected between a 5 and a 7. This one came up towards the top of that range. And this was another one like that Javon Curse we just saw, where this cover was only released for the SI Mexico. So this was basically in memoriam of Johnny Unitas when he passed away in 2002. And the United States version also had Johnny Unitas on a cover in 2002 when he passed away, but it was a different photo. And that one said the best there ever was, whereas this one says the best ever. And like I said, the US version, it was a different photo. So this is a unique cover only to Sports Illustrated Mexico, which I love and I think makes it very cool. This one does say Edition Mexico, and I don't think it's coming in focus very well. There it is. You can see it right there. Pretty cool. So yeah, October of 2002, and what they put on the slab was they put Mexican edition, Sports Illustrated Mexican edition. That says Johnny Unitas cover over here. All right, I think that's all I got to say about that one, but I do like that one a lot. I love the uniqueness that it's not even a US cover. I'm willing to bet that every single person watching this video has probably never seen this before. All right. Next up, SI Mexico number 3. And here we go. Lo Mejor del 2001, the best of 2001. We got Shaq. We got Randy Johnson, the big unit. And we've also got Tony Siragusa for the Baltimore Ravens. So this one also came in at the top of my predicted range, that 5 to 7. So this was, an end of the year issue. It's December 2001. So this was their last issue of 2001 for SI Mexico. And it's wrapping up the year. The Ravens had defeated the Giants in the Super Bowl to win. They won 34-7 that year. The Diamondbacks defeated the Yankees 4-3 in the World Series. That was where they had the walk-off hit, I believe, Luis Gonzalez. And then the Lakers beat the 76ers 4-1 in the NBA Finals. So that was kind of the year in review. So there's that one, the best of 2001. right? That one will be going up for sale. Next up, this was my highest graded SI Mexico. We got a 9.0, so that was a surprise. This is Joe Jaravicius, Al Abordaje, which well, I did look that up. I can't remember, like all aboard, maybe something along those lines. But this was whenever the Buccaneers defeated the Raiders to win the Super Bowl. Now this one was the same cover as the US Sports Illustrated. So many of you probably have seen this cover before, but not the Spanish version. You see it in English. So exact same cover photo. And actually, let's see here. Yeah, that's John Gruden up here in the photo inset because he was the coach of the Buccaneers when they won the Super Bowl there. So pretty cool. If you're a Buccaneers fan or Joe Jaravicius fan, I'll be putting that one up for sale as well. And moving on to our next Sports Illustrated Mexico. Like I said, I do have two regular US Sports Illustrateds here towards the end, plus a surprise for last. So hang on for that one. And next up, oh, look at that, Michael Jordan. I was pretty excited to see there was a Michael Jordan in this batch of Sports Illustrated Mexicos. It's a 7.5. You got Wizards Michael Jordan. It says Michael Jordan cover up there. Edición Mexico. Michael Jordan versus Los Nuevos Valores. Just pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. If you're a Jordan collector, this is a unique item. This is one that I'm probably going to keep. Probably going to keep this MJ SI Mexico. This one, obviously, as many of you know, was also the same cover that the US version used as well. So common cover there, but not common as an SI Mexico. And so far, all of these that I've shown, were not on that the website that I've talked about. So I didn't even know they existed until I saw them. Because like I said, there were only 3 on there. And none of them that we've looked at so far were any of those. Okay, here's another. This is the Patriot Day. So this was another one that was on the US version of Sports Illustrated whenever the Patriots defeated the then St. Louis Rams in the Super Bowl. That is Willie McGinnis taking down Kurt Warner and came back a 7.0. So I'll be putting that one up for sale as well. All right, next up, another SI Mexico. This one's pretty cool. This is one I plan on most likely keeping. This is Shaq. This is another US cover that was reused. This is from July to August 2001. So it looks like this was actually, July and August. They only released one issue out of those 2 months. Kind of like Sports Illustrated would sometimes do double issues that would cover 2 weeks. This appears to be a double issue for SI Mexico that covered 2 months. So the US cover says, "Get out of our way." This says El Cetro es nuestro, and the Spanish translation of that is "the scepter is ours." Which, I looked that up. A scepter could be like a staff for a king. So it's almost like they're saying, the crown is ours, the title is ours, something along those lines is, I think, what that caption's going for. Really cool. I mean, I'm a big, used to be a big Lakers fan. I'm not anymore, but, Kobe was my guy. And basically from 96 to, until Kobe retired, I was a big time Lakers fan. So I loved Shaq, and I definitely love this cover, and I'll be keeping this one. Pretty cool. All right, moving on. We got a few more SI Mexicos. So here is one that actually was listed on the website, and this is the Marshall Faulk. So this was the only one of my batch that was listed on that website. This is from September of 2001, And what's cool about this one is this is Marshall Faulk's first cover. So this was a U.S. cover, and the U.S. cover of this, the U.S. version of this, was Marshall Faulk's first and only Sports Illustrated cover, and he's a Hall of Famer. He was huge part of that just unreal St. Louis Rams offense, the greatest show on turf. He's one of the best dual threat running backs in NFL history. So Marshall Faulk's first cover, definitely collectible. And then having it in an SI Mexico 7.5, 1 of 1, only one graded, only one I've ever seen. I'm excited about that. I'll probably keep this one as well. Now that I'm going through this, I might be keeping more of these than I originally thought. I might be keeping 4 or 5 as opposed to the what I say earlier, 2 or 3. I definitely want to keep the Michael. I'm probably going to keep the Marshall Faulk. I'm going to keep the Shaq. I like the Johnny Unitas a lot. That one's kind of borderline for me. But you know, some of them I'm gonna throw up. This will be one I put up for sale. Here we got Clinton Portis with the Miami Hurricanes. This is a 7.5. Clinton Portis did go on to be a successful NFL player start off with the Broncos, and I believe he was traded straight up for Champ Bailey and went to the Redskins. And so this was also a U.S. cover. Clinton Portis was a 2-time Pro Bowler. He had 6 seasons with 1,000 or more rushing yards. He's 32nd on the all-time rushing list, so he was definitely a good running back, not a Hall of Fame running back. So yeah, that's one that I will most likely be, I will be putting this one up for sale also. All right, let's take a look now at we got 2 traditional Sports Illustrateds. USA. These are covers that you've definitely seen, and they're very, very collectible. However, can you see the color of the slab? It is not the blue that we would be hoping for. This is purple. I'm not happy about it. I'm actually going to be sending this one back because I think this is a mistake. Now, a Larry Bird first cover newsstand such as this is awesome in any grade, but I'm not happy that they gave me the purple restored label. So they put on here, restoration includes cover reattached with glue, and that is false. So here's what happened. I bought this issue raw myself, and the cover had come apart from the staples, and the seller did mention that, so I knew that that's what I was getting. But this was one that I didn't own yet, and I'd been looking for, even just in very low grade. I just wanted to own a cover. I just wanted to own a copy of this issue. This is one of my favorite all-time covers. To me, it's one of the most collectible covers of all time, and I just knew I needed to get a copy. Didn't care the grade. So I got this, came in. The cover was, detached, just like as noted by the seller. I've had 2 other issues like that in the past. I've used tape on the inside spine of the inner pages to reattach the cover so that it would be able to, be one piece and display well and display normally. Now, I only did that the first time after some pretty thorough research and the understanding that CGC no longer, they used to, but they no longer treat tape, clear tape, such as Scotch tape, as restoration, because it's such a common thing to find, especially on older comics, to repair tears and that thing. So they don't treat it as restoration. They treat it as a defect. And so you will get deducted points for his presence, but you're not supposed to get a purple restored label for using clear tape. Now, I will say, some people will say, don't use Scotch tape at all. There may be some acid in it that can eat through the magazine, and that very well may be true. I guess it's very possible that, a couple years down the road, my magazines with Scotch tape on the inside of the cover that have been slabbed and encapsulated could show some, negative residual effects from that. I hope not. I don't think that will happen, especially with them being slabbed, but it's a possibility. And some people will certainly warn you against using clear tape, but I've done it a couple times. I actually have a Michael Jordan first cover newsstand 1983 with North Carolina. I think came back like a 4.0 with a blue label, and I had done this exact same thing. I had used tape to reattach the cover, the front and back cover that had come detached. And CGC very clearly notes in their resources that it's not supposed to be restoration. It's supposed to be a defect. So I don't know if they just, did it. I mean, they said the cover was reattached with glue. So I'm almost wondering that they kind of opened it, but didn't see all the way that it was actually a piece of, as a long strip of clear tape that's holding this in and not glue. So I'm sending this back. I'm going to send it back as a mechanical error, and I'm going to give them a note and say, hey, this is not reattached with glue. This is attached with clear Scotch tape, and I'm going to request a blue label, and we'll see if they give it to me. In my opinion, they should. I'm even going to print off and highlight their resources page that shows that blurb, that snippet about clear tape, and we'll see what happens. So this will be a to be continued. But you know what? At the end of the day, even if they send it back to me and they won't give me a blue label, it will be disappointing if that's the case, but I'm still thrilled to own a newsstand copy of Larry Bird's first cover. Like I said, it's one of my favorites, and it's one I've been trying to snag for a long time, and it's in my top 10 of most collectible issues of all time. I projected a 3.0, got the 3.0. Of course, I wasn't expecting the restored label. And Larry, he talks about how after this cover came out, how crazy things got for him, just as far as the media coverage, because he was, he played at Indiana State in little Terre Haute, Indiana, in the Missouri Valley Conference, and that's not a team or a location or a media market where there's a lot of hype and a lot of attention. So he was a little bit under the radar and not super well known. And this was going into, let's see, this would have been going into his I think sophomore season, maybe. This is the season before the national championship game against Magic. I want to say he was a junior that year and that he went into the NBA draft after his junior season. I could be off on that. He might have played all 4 years in college, but this is one season before that national championship game with Magic. And yeah, he said after this cover came out that it just got crazy, the media attention and the media hype on Larry Bird. So this cover has been graded 28 times in, oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. This cover's been graded, I thought that it was a little higher than that, 41 times. 41 newsstands have been graded of the Larry Bird first cover. The highest is a 9.6. Of those 41, there's one qualified and there's 3 restored now. And the highest sale that I could find of this cover, I haven't seen any super high grades of this one go for sale. There was an 8.0 newsstand in 2021 that sold for $2,400. Recently, really in the past year or so, almost all the sales I could find on this were subscription copies. So that tells you a little bit something too. These newsstands don't come up for sale very often because people know how collectible they are. And I think a lot of people, including me, would assume that this is one that's got a lot of potential for growth and value. But I did find a 4.5 newsstand sold for $450 in August. So there you go. To be continued. We'll see if I can get this back in a blue universal label. If I could get a 3.0 universal label of this copy, I'd be stoked. All right. Moving on. We've got 2 slabs left. 2 slabs left. One of them is, like I said, a pretty standard issue that you see a lot. Very collectible. That's what this one is here. Last one's a surprise. All right, last one is a surprise. So here we go. Hulk Hogan 8.0. I had one of these in a very recent unboxing video. and it was a 7.0, and I was really happy with that. Even more happy with the 8.0 because this is an ultra awesome cover. Hulk Hogan, 1985, his first and only, and actually the label says that, first and only Hulk Hogan Sports Illustrated cover. So SI, make sure you don't put Hulk Hogan on another cover and ruin that labeling. Actually, I was reading in a book recently that Sports Illustrated caught a little bit of flack for putting this cover out because this obviously went against the mainstream. This wasn't, one of your typical major, stadium sports. And actually, a lot of the staff at Sports Illustrated was really unhappy with this cover because they felt like Sports Illustrated was starting to try and be a little bit too much mainstream. They were trying to just like be a little too much commercial. They were trying to be too commercial. They were trying to just push out stuff just to appeal to the masses, and they were getting away a little bit from their roots of hard-hitting sports writing and in-action photos and that type of thing. That was what some of the old guard from Sports Illustrated felt that way, and a lot of the staff were really unhappy with the higher ups at this time because of this cover. But in retrospect, in my opinion, amazing decision, amazing foresight to put Hulk Hogan on this cover in 1985. And it's also a beautiful cover with the pink background, the lightning in the back and all that stuff. So this one has been graded 28 times. And how about this? At an 8.0, it's a pop 4. There are 4 8.0s. There's only 3 graded higher. Only 3 graded higher. There's one 8.5, there's one 9.0, and there's one 9.2. Sales. A 7.5 sold in June several months back for $475. So that would indicate that this one is, $475 or a little bit more in terms of value. And the 9.2, which, like I said, was the highest graded, sold in 2022 for $1,100. So love the Hulk Hogan. What this means is I will probably be putting my 7.0 newsstand copy up for sale now that I've got the duplicate. All right, last one. This was the one I was most excited about. I've been waiting forever for this box to come back just because of this one. This is super cool. And actually, I meant to look up one little thing related to Pop Reports for me to share with you. So as I'm preparing to reveal this one, and as I'm building up the suspense, I'm going to look up this little tidbit of information so I can share it with you. So we're going back here to the SI Mexico. I've got one more SI Mexico, and oh shoot, I can't even share this with you because the census is down. And census has been down for a few days. Actually, I thought that it would be back up by now, but apparently it is not. Although, I think I could probably be sneaky here, and I can click this. I can click one of my prior submissions. Yeah, there we go. So if you click on your submissions page in your CGC account, you can click on your specific magazines that you got returned, and this only seems to work on the desktop version. I can't get this to work on my phone on mobile, but in the desktop version, you go into your submission, it lists each of your individual magazines you got back, it shows the grade, and there's a link on the left-hand side for each individual magazine. You click on it, and it'll pull up the grader's notes. And what they've recently started doing, which is very cool, here just in the past couple months, is they're putting images of the front and the back of your slab at the bottom of that page. So you can actually now, they used to charge a little bit, like $5 or $10 if you wanted a copy of that high resolution image, but now they're doing it for free, and they're putting it on the bottom of each individual page. Like, if you search the cert number for a newer slab, it will pull up the grader's notes and the details of the magazine, and it has the images at the bottom, which is really cool. But it also shows the pop reports, and it even links straight to that pop report. If you click on that right there, it will take you directly to the pop, and this is still working. So if you just right now CGC right now CGC's census has been down, at least for Sports Illustrated, for several days, if you just try and search it and go through it the traditional way. But if you go to your if you click on your submission, it will take you directly there. And wow, I hadn't looked at this. I hadn't looked at this one in a long time. This is way higher than I remember it being. That's kind of crazy. Okay, let me go ahead and share with you what we got. So this is SI Mexico, last slab in the box. Look at that. El Natural, Tom Brady. You have no idea how excited I was when I saw that this was one of the SI Mexicos that the guy had listed on that marketplace. This was the whole reason that I went through that extra effort to make sure that I got these. So 7.0 Tom Brady first cover. And what's really cool, none of these other SI Mexicos had like cool labeling. You know, it would say Johnny Unitas cover or Marshall Faulk cover. But this Brady, they actually listed it and put it right there. First Tom Brady cover, because as you probably are aware, this is the same cover that was used in the US version, and this was his first Sports Illustrated cover from 2002. The US one came out in April 2002. This is the May 2002 edition of Sports Illustrated Mexico. So super, super pumped about this one. Tom Brady's first cover is tough to find in newsstand, although, like I just kind of mentioned as I was going on this, I'm really surprised. These pop counts are a lot higher than the last time I had looked at this page. I had not looked at the pop counts on this particular issue in a long time, because I do own the US version of this in a 9.2. And wow, the pops have grown since I got that one back probably a year ago. So there are 103 newsstand copies of Tom Brady's first cover graded in the US version. Obviously, there's only 6 9.8s, and then you got 19 9.6s, 18 9.4s, and 16 9.2s. So my 9.2 is not nearly as high as it was last time I checked. There's definitely been an influx on these Bradys, but still, you got to think about where Brady was in his career when this first cover came out. You know, he had kind of come out of nowhere. Wasn't even supposed to be the Patriots starting quarterback. He replaced Drew Bledsoe when he got injured, and you know, led the Patriots to that Super Bowl win in 2002. But it just it wasn't expected. He wasn't a huge prospect or anything. I mean, kind of similar to like almost what you see Brock Purdy doing here recently. So for that reason, you know, this cover wasn't saved and collected nearly as much as, for example, LeBron James, which his first cover came out this exact same year in 2002. And, you know, everyone was saving that cover because there's tons of hype. He was a big time prospect. That wasn't the case with Brady. So this is a big time cover. Definitely one of the most collectible issues of all time, especially in terms of modern covers. And this is now Pop 1 of 1. It is the only Sports Illustrated Mexico version of Tom Brady's first cover that's been graded and that I've ever seen. Like I said, I had never seen any of these issues, rather either raw or ungraded. So really, really cool, really excited. Love that they put first Tom Brady cover. Just, I mean, El Natural, even the title on this one makes it cooler. You know, all these other ones, I've been reading to you like what a lot of these captions say, but just something about El Natural sounds awesome. You know, the US version says the natural. Well, you know, it's like El Nino. It's Spanish for the Nino. All right. El Natural, Spanish for the natural. That's a little Chris Farley reference. All right. I think that's all I've got. It's probably going to end up being one of my longer unboxing videos, but that's okay because it was unique. I had a lot of fun talking about all this stuff. I had a lot of fun tracking these down and excited to get them back. Would love to hear what you guys think. Drop me some comments. If you have not already, please subscribe to this channel. Appreciate likes and comments. And until the next video, I'll see you guys next time.